in the heart of Harrowsville, where I've always known the comfort of white picket fences and the familiarity of age-worn brick homes, an unsettling shadow from the neighboring dense forest stretches over. As daylight retreats, the joyous laughter of children playing in the streets fades, replaced by an almost suffocating silence the night brings with it. In our living room, where the soft crackling of the fireplace is the only sound, Clara, my dear sister, immerses herself in an old book, her voice taking on a mysterious tone as she speaks of forest spirits and ancient legends. "They're just old fairy tales, Clara," I remark, trying to brush off the unease her stories bring. One cold evening, something inexplicable happens. Mr. Jenkins, a familiar face in town, is seen walking trance-like towards the foreboding forest. A truck driver attempts to snap him out of his daze, but he's unresponsive. When dawn breaks, Mr. Jenkins returns to Harrowsville, but there's a change in him, and a sinister mark on his wrist catches my attention. It resembles twisted roots. As the day unfolds, I realize he's not the only one. Whispers and hushed conversations reveal that more townsfolk bear the same eerie brand, and their stories are filled with gaps in memory and haunting dreams. One particularly quiet night, a faint noise draws me from my slumber. An instinct, powerful and undeniable, pulls me to the forest. To my horror, I see Clara at the threshold, her white nightdress making her look ghostly, seemingly drawn into the woods. I desperately reach out to pull her back, but an invisible, cold barrier keeps me away. I stand helplessly, tears blurring my vision as the forest swallows her. The next day, Harrowsville is a town transformed by terror. Everywhere I turn, there are stories of loved ones acting strangely and visions that torment the dreamers. Out of shared fear and determination, we all vow to keep watch, to protect our families from the encroaching darkness. In my desperation, I delve into the town library's ancient archives, brushing off centuries of dust. There, I unearth stories about Morravoren, a malevolent force said to be the very essence of the forest. The tales speak of a ritual, a binding act that once held this entity at bay. Could someone or something have disturbed this ancient balance? As days turn to nights, a heavy atmosphere descends on Harrowsville. Darkness seems more profound, and chilling winds carry murmurs of unspeakable horrors. With every sunset, a growing dread settles in our hearts, hinting at a descent into an abyss from which we might never return. In the quiet embrace of the town library, surrounded by countless ancient stories, I find myself engrossed in a particular book titled Harrowsville's Shadows. Its pages unravel the haunting narrative of Morravoren, a malevolent spirit lurking within the forest, ensnaring souls for reasons unknown. The weight of what I'm reading, and what might lie ahead, becomes all too real. Exiting the library, my introspection is broken by Agnes, an elderly woman whose piercing eyes defy her years. "The forest remembers, child, and it never lets go," she whispers cryptically. Intrigued and seeking clarity, I soon learn of her family's sacred duty as protectors of Harrowsville. They held the knowledge of the ritual that kept Morravoren at bay. Within the intimate confines of Agnes's cottage, illuminated by soft candlelight and surrounded by arcane symbols, she shares her ancestors' legacy. A sacred agreement had once shielded our town, but now something has incited Morravoren's wrath. Agnes entrusts me with an old wooden box. Inside, an amulet and a scroll detailed with the ritual await. Her voice, heavy with urgency, warns me of the danger that lies in confronting Morravoren directly. For the ritual to succeed, it must be bound to the tolling of midnight. As the sun's last light recedes, I, armed with this newfound knowledge and purpose, step into the forest. Its initial touch feels almost welcoming, but it doesn't take long before I'm enveloped in an overwhelming darkness. The very trees around me seem tormented, their figures twisted, their limbs stretching out like desperate hands. Ethereal whispers surround me, both guiding and misleading, each one a lost soul ensnared by the forest. Among them, a familiar voice breaks through Clara's, her tone a blend of sorrow and warning. In the midst of the forest's illusions, the amulet around my neck shines faintly, a beacon in the oppressive dark. Even when doubt creeps in, Agnes's distant voice resonates, urging me, "Let your heart guide you, not your eyes." I press on, further into the heart of this woodland labyrinth. As I near the forest's mysterious center, the fabric of time seems to warp. Disturbing visions of those ensnared by Morravoren, including my dear Clara, briefly materialize before vanishing. Anchored by the amulet and Agnes's teachings, I push forward with resolve. Beyond the thick woods, I stumble upon a clearing dominated by a towering, gnarled tree, its roots forming a chaotic maze that leads to a sealed portal. The air is thick with tension. I see fleeting shadows and hear murmurs growing louder, and an icy sensation envelops me as midnight draws close. From the obsidian patterns on the ground, dark tendrils rise, coalescing into the ever-shifting form of Morravoren. This entity, constantly morphing between man and beast, serenades with a haunting melody. "Another tribute?" it queries, eyeing me with a sardonic grin. Taking a deep breath, I start reciting from the scroll Agnes gave me. The forest reacts vehemently. Trees sway wildly, shadows distort, all seemingly in an attempt to confound and deter me. The whispers crescendo into deafening screams, each a voice trying to either guide or mislead me. From the enveloping darkness, a familiar face confronts me. It's Clara, her eyes hollow, reflecting Morravoren's disquieting tones. "Join us," she pleads. "Embrace eternal peace. Be free." My heart wrenches at her words, but the warmth emanating from the amulet strengthens my determination. With the last strokes of midnight ringing out, the ritual intensifies. Channeling both the power of my voice and the amulet, I challenge Morravoren's oppressive might. The culmination is marked by a thunderous roar and a blinding burst of light, turning the once ominous clearing radiant. When the brilliance dims, dawn's soft hues paint the scene. The malevolent presence of Morravoren, while diminished, is still palpable. Clara, lying amidst the grass, stirs, her once distant gaze now clear and confused. Our reunion, while filled with relief, is tinged with lingering apprehension. As I leave the forest's embrace, its apparent calm feels deceptive. Harrowsville might look unchanged, but now every shadow feels threatening, and each gust of wind whispers tales of Morravoren. The tale concludes with a chilling realization. While the immediate threat has subsided, the ancient evil merely slumbers, waiting for its next moment to awaken.